The injury bug has been relentless with pitchers dropping like flies. But don't worry, I have you covered with some great replacements on today's action of Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source of fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I'm your host, Dominic Martino. You can find me on Twitter at DonMartinoFB. Matthew has the night off tonight. You know, he's been covering for me a lot recently, so we're giving him the night off tonight. And actually, it is his birthday, so you know what, guys, sound off in the comments. Let's wish Matt a happy birthday tonight. But if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, that allows 5-star ratings and reviews. We would truly appreciate it if you could do that for us. And if you're watching on YouTube and you haven't already, hit that little bell below. It subscribes to the channel and gives you notification every time we drop a new episode. And lastly, but most importantly to Matt and I, guys, join us on the Subtext platform. The link to our Subtext is in our bio or available on all of our social media platforms. On Subtext, it's an in-depth personalized experience through text messaging alerts right to your phone. You get so much more than we could offer in this 30-minute podcast, including but not limited to waiver wire rankings, prospect call-ups, and injury alerts as well. And guys, today's episode is brought to you by Monopoly Go. I admit it, I have a competitive side, and it's a big fan of Monopoly Go, the mobile hit twist on the classic Monopoly. So join your friends and download Monopoly Go, now free on the app or Google Play Store. All right, guys, but let's get into the meat and potatoes. You know, as I said, you know, the injury bug has been relentless. Pitchers going down, hitters going down, and we definitely need some replacements, right? So let's get things started here. And I think I got a good one right off the bat for you guys. Let's talk about Eloy Jimenez of the Chicago White Sox. Now, we all know, Eloy's familiar with the injury bug himself, and the injury bug has been around Eloy this year. But you know what? Eloy's been back for, quite a few games at this point, and it really looks like he's heating back up over his last 5 games. He has 2 multi-hit games, 2 homers. He has 6 RBIs. He's even chipped in the first steal of his career. And we all know who Eloy can be when he's healthy. He actually is a really, really good baseball player, a great hitter. He's got a lot of power in that bat. We know the White Sox aren't a very good team. They're actually pretty putrid. Sorry to all you White Sox fans out there, but it is what it is. But I think Eloy can really contribute. Hitting third in that lineup is still a nice spot. RBIs are going to be good. The homers are going to be good. And Eloy's a career 273 batter. Honestly, the upside is even higher than that. He has 2 seasons over 290. I honestly think he could be a 280 guy with a lot of pop. And right now, Eloy is only owned in, I believe it was 47% of leagues on Yahoo. So he's a must-add right now. Honestly, if he's available in any of your leagues, kind of pause the podcast moment, pick him up, and just throw him in the lineup right now while he's hot. He might get hurt at some point, but while Eloy is healthy, he is honestly one of the better hitters in the game of baseball. So Eloy, honestly, at 47% owned for me, he honestly has to be up around 90, if not universally owned at this point, because like I said, he could really do some damage and, honestly carry you on any given week in fantasy baseball. So Eloy Jimenez, got to get him owned, get him on your rosters. But let's keep things moving here. Let's go with another guy that's been around for a while. Let's talk about Byron Buxton. Another dude, as Matt would say, he has his own wing in the hospital right next to Adalberto Mondesi's wing. Mr. Buxton, also very good friends with the injury bug, but is healthy again, and he's hitting well. Honestly, in his last, 4 games, got a hit in all of them, 2 multi-hit games. His last game on April 23rd, Byron Buxton hit his first home run of the season, went 3 for 4 with 2 runs. And once again, when this guy's healthy and he's out there getting it done, can be one of the way better, players in the game of baseball. I don't know how much he's got left in the steals tank, but definitely can give you some power, can give you some, RBIs and runs as well. I really like Byron Buxton, and he's another guy that's still, pretty lowly owned, honestly, in today's day and age with everyone being hurt. We got to get these guys into our lineup. Byron Buxton, 46% owned, has the track record. We know who he is. It's not really so much of a talent question with Buxton. It's just a can he stay on the field? Back in 2022, Byron Buxton was an all-star, hit 28 home runs in 92 games, 340 at-bats. So there's a lot of power in that bat. Like I said, the speed, not really expecting much in the batting average. Buxton's a career 240 guy. So that, you're doing all right there because it's not killing you. But Byron Buxton, another guy I definitely think should be, a lot more highly owned than he is at the moment. Let's keep things pushing here with actually somebody that just got called up. And, if you're with us on subtext, you got the alert. It's Pete Crow-Armstrong. With the thing with PCA is, I kind of wish Matt was here to talk about him. PCA is somebody that Matt really loves, but I'll give you guys my best take on him. Gets the call. Cody Bellinger hits the IL with the rib issue. Pete Armstrong really isn't doing great down, in Iowa so far with 24 strikeouts to 3 walks, 203 batting average. The thing is, though, sometimes when these guys get called up, and the pressure's on for them to perform. Otherwise, hey, listen, you might get sent back down. You don't know when your next shot is. I think Pete Crow-Armstrong is somebody that, could be one of those guys that comes up and just says, you know what, I'm going to show out and I'm going to be really good. Even though last year when he got the call, he didn't even get a hit through 13 games. He's somebody I believe in, more of a deeper league play. I have him behind, actually almost everybody we're talking about today, except one guy who we'll talk about later on. 7% on for Pete Crow. Five outfielder leagues, 15-man leagues, your NL only, stuff like that. That's probably where I'm going to grab him. Anything else, just really throwing him on my watch list and seeing what happens. But in the minors in 2023, Pete Crow Armstrong in 107 games, 138 at-bats, had 98 runs, 20 homers, 37 steals, 82 RBIs, and a 283. This kid's really shown it all off in the minors with the speed, got a little bit of power, hits for batting average. So like I said, this is a guy that maybe we're not going out and adding him in every single league right away, but in most leagues, if not every single one, at least putting him on the watch list. And in those deeper leagues, like I said, the five outfielder leagues, we're going to add Pete Crow-Armstrong, just a speculative ad. Once again, might not play every single day, but just on the off chance that, Pete Crow hits the ground running and shows that prospect pedigree, I'm willing to take that speculative ad in those deeper leagues. Everywhere else, like I said, throw him on the watch list. But before we, keep things pushing, I got a couple of young bats and a veteran bat coming up next, and then some 3 really good starting pitchers and a closer for you guys as well. You're going to want to make sure you stay tuned for that. But before that, once again, guys, I do have a couple of quick ad breaks for you. And guys, we're talking about our friends at Policy Genius. Have you ever worried about what will happen to your family if, God forbid, something were to happen to you? If so, you need to check out Policy Genius. Policy Genius is the country's leading online insurance marketplace. It saves you time and money so you can provide your family with financial security safety net starting today. With Policy Genius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $292 per year for $1 million worth of coverage. Some options offer same-day approval and avoid unnecessary medical exams. Policy Genius helps you compare your options from your top companies, and their team of licensed experts are on hand to talk you through it. Talk to a team of award-winning agents who will walk you through the process step by step. What you may need to consider is your work-life insurance policy may not offer enough protection for your family's needs. Even worse, it may not come with you if you leave your job. Policy Genius gives you unbiased advice from a licensed expert support team. They have no incentive to recommend one insurer over another, so you can trust their guidance. Check life insurance off your to-do list in no time with Policy Genius. Head to policygenius.com/lockedonmlb or click the link in the description to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you could save. Once again, that's policygenius.com/lockedonmlb. And guys, got one more ad for you. We're talking about Monopoly Go. We've all been there, either as a player or a fan. It's halftime and the scoreboard is not looking good. You're feeling low, not sure you or your team can pull out a win. That's when you dig deep, lift your head up, and say to yourself, time to get back in the game, pull off some bank heist, and take as much of my friend's money as I possibly can. That's right, the smash hit mobile game Monopoly Go lets you compete with your friends to get the most riches and the biggest empire. It's the Monopoly you love, but on your phone anytime with tons of new twists, including leaderboards to compare your progress to your buddies. There's so much to do. Play on countless dynamic Monopoly boards. Make your friends bankrupt by smashing their landmarks with a wrecking ball. Charge other players rent for your iconic properties. You can even work with your friends to crack open community chests and in tournaments to get extra rewards and climb the leaderboards. So get back out there, put your game face on, and download Monopoly Go, now free on the App Store or Google Play. And guys, are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Make sure you switch over to Locked On Sports Today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for your everyday to bring you the biggest stories without all that screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And guys, lastly, but most importantly to Matt and I, you're going to want to join us on the Diamond Club on Subtext. The link to the Diamond Club on Subtext is available in the description to this podcast, wherever you're listening, or available on all of our social media platforms. The Diamond Club is going to be your ultimate fantasy baseball companion. Guys, as the season unfolds, you're going to get real-time alerts right to your phone, including waiver wire rankings, instant call-up notifications, injury reactions, and a whole lot more. Stay ahead of your fantasy league by joining the Diamond Club on Subtext, where the path to your victories begins. Subscribe now and elevate your fantasy baseball experience to a new level. And woof, guys, as always, that is a lot of talking, but you know what? I know that's not what you guys are here for. You guys are here for the fantasy baseball talk, and that's what you're going to get. So let's move on with some more must-add waiver wire players. And next up is Wilyer Abreu of the Boston Red Sox. Now, last year, when Wilyer Abreu got called up, he wasn't really such a highly touted prospect. Had a little bit of buzz around him, but, everyone wasn't rushing out there to grab him right away as soon as he was called up. But honestly, as he kept playing, he looked really good and did get picked up in a lot of leagues down the stretch and honestly helped some people win fantasy baseball championships. Wilyer Abreu last year, through 28 games after he got called up, had 76 at-bats, 10 runs, 6 doubles, 2 homers, 14 RBIs, 3 steals, 9 walks to 23 strikeouts, and a 316 batting average. And so far this year, Wilyer Abreu, is just showing off more of the same. As a 25-year-old, 19 games, 54 at-bats, 10 runs, 5 doubles, 2 homers, 8 RBIs, 4 steals, 9 walks to 18 strikeouts with a 278 batting average. And, Wilyer Abreu kind of, mixed bags down in the minors, as he came up through the system with Houston, but, really started to show things off when he came over, to Boston in 2023, had a really strong season in the minors and just has continued to impress. Is he a long-term solution? That kind of yet to remains to be seen. But honestly, while he's hitting right now, outfield is a tough position, and Wilyer Abreu's 20% owned. He's playing every single day there for Boston over the last, couple of weeks, hitting second and, fourth of late. I think it's a guy that we need to go out there and throw into our lineups. And, we'll just kind of ride the wave with. Like I said, he might not be a long-term solution, but I wouldn't be surprised if, come the All-Star break, you're sitting back with a couple of days off looking at your roster and Wilyer Abreu's just sitting there, still doing pretty solid because you know what? Uh, the league might, adjust back to him as the film gets out on there. We got to see if he can adjust back, but honestly has shown nothing but, solid hitting so far in his major league career. Once again, that's Wilyer Abreu of the Boston Red Sox. Let's keep things pushing here and talk about Travis d'Arnaud. Travis d'Arnaud, I mean, if you've been playing fantasy baseball for a while, or just even watching baseball, you know who d'Arnaud is, and we kind of know he can just really get the job done, and that's what he's been doing of late. getting that regular playing time there in Atlanta on that, monster team that he's on there. So far, Darno this year has played 19 games, 58 at bats, 11 runs, 6 doubles, 5 homers, 15 RBIs, 5 walks to 13 strikeouts, 293 batting average. We know he's got a little bit of pop. RBIs and runs are going to be very good on that Atlanta team. Batting average over the last couple of years has been all over the place. And the plate discipline, kind of same. Plate discipline was pretty good last year. His career, not something he's really particularly known for. He's always been okay at it, not great. But while Darno's out there, getting the playing time, definitely somebody we need to add. At catcher, like I said, that Braves team, we just know how good they are. Darno is 50% owned at the moment. And just even you look at his last, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games, 3 multi-hit games, had a 3 home run game. I don't know what else you can ask for, out of a catcher. I know there's been guys like I'll even throw my boy out there. Mitch Garver been underperforming, probably a guy I would drop to go out there and get Travis Darno right now. Guy that needs to be probably 75, 80% owned until, I believe it, until things cool off with, Travis Darno and, until Sean Murphy gets back. Sean Murphy is, still banged up. So Travis Darno is going to have that regular playing time until he gets back. I do have one last bat here for you guys. I might sneak one more bat in if we have the time at the end. But let's talk about Jo Adell, right? Jo Adell's not playing every single day, but actually has played the last 3 games, including today, has had a hit in all 3 of those games, has a multi-hit game in one of them, has a game with a home run and a steal in there. And I just feel like this is the problem with Jo Adell and the Angels is that when he's going right, they're just not playing him every day. And that's really been the problem here because on the season, Jo Adell's hitting .314 with 8 runs, 2 homers, 6 RBIs, and 5 steals. This is really what we've been waiting for. And I would think that the Angels have been waiting for as well. So why not just let this kid play, right? He's still only 25 years old. We may have a little bit of that prospect fatigue with Adell, but honestly, I still believe. I really do still believe that Jo Adell can be, at least an above average major league player for a good stretch of his career. They need to let him play. And if the Angels don't want to let him play, what a better time to sell high on a guy like Jo Adell than now. He's 4% owned on Yahoo. Once again, in those, only leagues or 5 outfielder leagues, this is a guy that we really want to go and take a look at, because if Jo Adell starts to get that regular playing time and he's hitting like this, the power's real, the speed's real. This Angels team is honestly not horrible in my opinion. At least for fantasy purposes. In real life, they're not doing so hot, but hey, with Trout and Taylor Ward and Rengifo and those guys that are all hitting in that lineup for fantasy purposes, Jo Adell could find his way into the middle of that lineup and, like I said, show off some power, show off some speed. Go out there in those deep leagues, add him now, kind of see where things go, because he has played in his last 3 games consecutively, which is the first time this season, I believe, yes, that he has played in 3 consecutive games. So I think he can really take the ball, run with it here. And in those the shallower leagues, at least throw him on your watch list and keep your eye on him. But guys, let's let's sneak one more ad in here before we move on to these pitchers that you guys are really, really not going to want to miss out on. And I think we're going to have enough time for me to sneak in one more bat here at the end that I do want to talk about. So stay tuned. We do have one quick more ad break for you guys. And guys, we're talking about Prize Picks. Prize Pick is the largest daily fantasy sports DFS platform in North America. They are the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS. It's just you against the numbers instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks. You pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Exploring my skills on Prize Picks this season adds an extra layer of excitement to daily fantasy sports. With just a few taps, you can transform $10 into $1,000 easily. Price Picks is incredibly user friendly. You can make selections and submit your entry in less than 60 seconds. As the host of Locked On Fantasy Baseball, here are some rock solid picks. Opt for Marcell Ozuna to have higher than zero point 0.5 total bases in his next outing. Opt for Mike Trout to have higher than 0.5 home runs in his next game. Download the app today. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, download the app today. Use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy with Prize Picks. All right, guys, we got a couple more names here, and I know you guys are waiting for the starting pitcher part of this episode, and here we are. Let's start with somebody who's been talked about, I think, a decent amount this offseason, maybe not so much this season by us, but Eric Fedde, right? Eric Fedde went overseas, last season to work on his game, had a dominant season, comes back over to the States this year, and honestly is looking pretty good so far. Has had a little bit of trouble with the control in some starts, but over his last two has looked really good, including on April 23rd against Minnesota. He went 6 innings, gave up 1 run, had 11 strikeouts, and had a 0.5 whip. Got the quality start in that one. Obviously, on the season, 2.73 ERA through his first 5 starts for Fedde, a 1.14 whip, 26 innings, 30 strikeouts. Honestly, this is a guy we got to add. We got to add him with everybody going down. We just lost Brian Baeball today, and I'm blanking. There was another big name that went down today too. Oh Lord. Why am I blanking on who it was? I'm sure it will come to me at some point, but let's keep talking about Eric Fedde. Like I said, somebody that really did not, have like a great track record, went over to Korea last year, got right, worked on his stuff, working with, a different mix this year, working with stuff that is a little bit better. The off-speed stuff is honestly really working for him, and the fastball's working for him as well. Has a pretty strong pitch mix, throws 4 pitches over 20% of the time this year. So really keeping hitters off balance. And honestly, I don't think Fedde is going to be this good the rest of the way, but could he have a mid-threes ERA with a decent whip and over a K per 9? Yeah, honestly, I really think Eric Fedde could. And today's, like I said, today's day and age where honestly every single pitcher is dropping like flies, and I still can't remember the one guy. I'm gonna blank on this hard. I know Gavin Williams had a setback, and it's just been really tough with starting pitching. So Eric Fedde, I think, is honestly, pause the podcast, go see if he's available. He's only 9% owned on Yahoo. I think that flies up by, later in the week. We'll see Eric Fedde probably 50% owned. But go out there and, just grab Fedde and see where the thing goes. Probably the best starting pitcher that, we're going to talk about tonight. Let's keep things pushing, though. Let's talk about Jameson Taillon. Jameson Taillon, went over to the Cubs, didn't have a great season last year, but comes back this year. His first start against Miami, 5 innings, the win, 4 strikeouts, gave up a run, 0.6 whip. It's pitching right now as we speak, or as I'm recording, against Houston. 5 innings, 1 earned run, 3 strikeouts. The whip is a little high at 1.6, and I think he's still out there throwing. So I'm recording this on Wednesday night, about 9 o'clock here. So there might be a little bit more from time, but hey, it's looked good so far. Only 19% owned on Yahoo. And we need those replacements right now. I keep saying it, and I'll keep, beating the point home. We need guys that are going to be decent, on a game to game basis. And I think Taillon is one of those guys that's had a decent career so far, playing for those Cubs. Decent team, probably get you some wins. Are we relying on him to be an absolute gem? Is he replacing the Striders and stuff like that? Absolutely not. But, can he be a guy that's somewhat reliable on a stretch-to-stretch basis? I think so. It looks like he's going to line up for maybe Boston in his next outing. Let me double-check that, though. Because you know what? If he's going out there and he's pitching pretty good against Houston, honestly, I think he can keep the ball rolling. He gets the Mets in his next outing. The Mets are an interesting one. I think we could throw Taillon out there against the Mets. I know the Mets have been, pretty solid. They're 7-3 in their last 10. But you know what? I like Taillon. Let's throw him out there against those Mets in his next outing. Let's move on to our next guy and let's talk about Luis Gil from my Yankees. Now, Luis Gil is somebody that, hasn't really shown too much longevity, but in his last start was his longest of the season, went 5.2 innings and looked pretty sharp. Luis Gil is somebody that I always just wanted to see break out because he has pretty good stuff. You know, as I mentioned in his last start against Tampa, 5.2 innings, got the win, 9 strikeouts, no earned with an 0.88 whip, honestly, which has been a little bit of his downfall so far this season, especially in his second and third start against Toronto. Got the strikeout numbers, but the control was really what was holding him back. And on the season, Gil's first 4 starts looked pretty good, 2.75 ERA, 1.27 whip, 19 innings, 29 strikeouts. So if you can afford a little bit of a higher whip, but you want those big strikeout numbers. And Luis Gil is, suppressing runs pretty good. I honestly think that we can, count on him to at least do that much. And like I said, you're going to really get some big strikeout numbers. He's had some big strikeout numbers. Luis Gil has had in the past. And if you're not watching on YouTube and you can't see the screen, Luis Gil is spelled Luisgil is that last name. It's pronounced heel, but it's spelled Gil. I know that's one I've had a problem with over the years. So just wanted to make sure you guys know how that is spelled out. But Luis Gil of those New York Yankees is 33% owned, and he's somebody that I want to, definitely want to go out and add because the upside is very high. But once again, you're gonna have to, really deal with that that control issue there. Let's move on to our last pitcher, maybe our last guy of the night. Let's see how long this takes us to get through here, but let's talk about Joel Payamps, the new closer for the Brewers, takes Uribe's job. And I'm not, totally sold on, Payamps either. A little bit of a journeyman, has a career 3.09 ERA, 192 innings, 168 strikeouts with a career 1.17 whip. Can he go out there and get the job done? Until I think the last time I checked, it was July that we were looking at getting Devin Williams back. But Payamps, I think, is a guy that, could be serviceable, on the year. 4.15 ERA, 0.69 whip, 8 innings, 7 strikeouts, 3 saves. I think we can go out there if you need the saves. If you missed out on, Kirby Yates, Payamps is 1% owned on Yahoo. I think we can go out there and snag him and just, kind of see where the wind takes us with him. Closers are a dime a dozen. Honestly, there'll be a bunch that will get hurt and be replaced throughout the season. You could just throw Payamps in until, the next one emerges. And guys, we got a couple little seconds here before we wrap things up. And I have one last name. Let's throw it out there for you. Let's talk about Matt Mervis. Matt Mervis was a darling coming out of the Arizona Fall League last year, with the Chicago Cubs. First baseman, he is such like a polished hitter and didn't really pan out last year. Got the call a couple of days ago, has played, 2 games, including the game tonight, is 0 for 2 in the 5th so far against Houston. But Matt Mervis is somebody that I really love and just kind of more of a watch list guy at the moment. Maybe in your super, super deep leagues, your NL onlys, you can go out there and add Mervis. But anything, other than that, maybe your deep 15s, not really taking a look at his way. But let's just talk about 2022 in the minors. Matt Mervis, 137 games, 512 at-bats, 92 runs, 40 doubles, 36 homers, 119 RBIs, 309 batting average. He's just such a good player, man. And then even this year, Matt Mervis in the minors, 18 games, 66 at-bats, 8 runs, 6 doubles, 5 homers, 13 RBIs, 12 walks to 19 strikeouts, 288 batting average. Matt Mervis is a guy that I really think once it clicks, it's going to click. And he's of that Christian Encarnacion Strand type build. A lot of power, good batting average, and could be pretty good, on this Cubs team that is pretty good lineup over there, especially, if Bellinger gets back, he might not be there anymore, but, just a good lineup there. And I think Matt Mervis could really figure it out. He's 2% owned on Yahoo is Matt Mervis. And, guys, that's about it. Just wanted to, once again, wanted to throw a special shout out to, my brother, my co-host, Matt. Really held things down. As I mentioned to you guys, I had a significant death in the family, and I truly appreciate, Matt for stepping up and doing that for me. But guys, that's all for today. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, rate, and review. Also, shout out to our everydayers and new listeners for making Locked On Fantasy Baseball your first listen each and every day. But guys, until tomorrow, see you.